Imagine waking up buried under snow, your fingers already turning black, knowing that before the sun sets again, someone in your group will have to make a decision no person should ever have to make. Not who eats first, but who gets to live. For most of human history, our ancestors didn't fight the cold with heaters or insulated jackets. They fought it with something far more brutal: choice. For hundreds of thousands of years, the difference between life and death wasn't luck. It was how far a person was willing to go. Some of what you're about to hear has been buried in ice and bone for tens of thousands of years, uncovered only recently by archaeologists who weren't sure they wanted to believe what they'd found. Stick around, because the last discovery on this list is one scientists still can't fully explain. During the last ice age, nomadic groups moving across frozen Europe faced a brutal equation. If a member could no longer walk, and carrying them risked slowing the whole group down long enough to get caught in a storm, some communities appear to have made an unthinkable calculation. Archaeological sites reveal skeletal remains of elderly individuals and infants left behind at abandoned camps. Not buried, not honored, simply left. Researchers believe this wasn't cruelty. It was arithmetic. If saving one life risked 14 others, some groups chose the 14. We'll never know if there were words spoken in that moment, or only silence. But the bones remain, exactly where they were left thousands of years ago. Cold doesn't just kill by freezing you, it kills by starving you first. And when hunts failed for weeks in a row, some ancient communities turned to a practice that still makes modern audiences flinch. They ate their own dead. Cut marks found on bones in Ice Age caves across Europe, used by both Neanderthals and early modern humans, match the exact butchering patterns used on animal carcasses. This wasn't violence, and it wasn't ritual. It was the last available calorie source, treated with the same practical precision as any other meal. What's most haunting isn't the act itself. It's that several sites show careful, minimal cutting, the kind of restraint used by someone trying to preserve dignity in the middle of horror. Before wool or cotton existed, staying alive meant wearing something that used to be alive. Ancient humans scraped animal hides clean with stone tools, then treated them with brain tissue or marrow to keep them soft and wearable. A technique some Arctic communities still use today. But in the harshest conditions, animal hide wasn't always available fast enough. Evidence from sites in Siberia and northern Europe suggests that, in true desperation, human skin and hair were repurposed the exact same way. Not as trophies, but as insulation. Even human fat was rendered down and burned in stone lamps, because fat burns longer than wood, and in a landscape buried under snow, any fuel source meant the difference between waking up and freezing in your sleep. The most quietly devastating practice of the ancient cold wasn't violent at all. It was mathematical. In extreme hunter-gatherer environments, a nursing mother burns enormous energy. And if she was already caring for a child too young to walk and food was critically scarce, some communities faced brutal birth spacing decisions during the harshest winters. Ethnographic records from later Arctic communities describe this being carried out with visible anguish, not indifference. Elders often described it not as a lack of love, but as its most painful form, sacrificing one chance to protect the ones who could still be saved. Not every survival method meant killing. Ancient herding communities discovered that drawing a small, careful amount of blood from a living animal without killing it could provide critical protein and warmth-generating calories during the leanest months. While keeping the herd alive for the following year, this wasn't a one-time act of desperation. It was refined into a sustainable system, still practiced today in extremely cold regions of East Africa and Central Asia, likely echoing techniques developed thousands of years earlier by ancient cold climate herders who understood one thing clearly: survive today without destroying tomorrow. Some responses to endless winter weren't practical at all. They were spiritual and just as dark. Across ancient cold climate cultures, from northern Europe to the high Andes, evidence points to ritual sacrifice tied directly to fear of a winter that wouldn't end. The Andean ice mummies, children specifically chosen and prepared over months, then led to the highest, coldest points of the mountains, were offerings meant to restore balance to a world that had grown dangerously, unnaturally cold. To the people who carried this out, it wasn't senseless. It was the most serious act they knew how to perform, and here's the one I promised you. In several extreme cold climate burial sites, archaeologists have found multiple individuals buried together, deliberately intertwined, far closer than typical burial customs allowed, with no evidence of disease, explaining their simultaneous deaths. One theory, still debated today, is almost too haunting to say out loud: that some of these people may have entered these positions while still alive, holding each other for warmth in one final act, and simply never got back up. If that's true, some of the oldest human remains ever discovered aren't evidence of violence or ritual at all. They're evidence of people refusing to let go of each other, right until the end. Every practice on this list traces back to the same truth. Humans were never built to survive extreme cold, and we refuse to disappear because of it. They weren't monsters. They were us, stripped of every comfort we take for granted, facing a version of winter most of us will never have to understand. They survived. And because they survived, we're here. If this kind of hidden history fascinates you, subscribe, because next time we go even further back into the coldest chapter of human history yet.